The Girl Who Survived, the Alina Thompson story, is generally a really good film. I don't really have any criticisms about it, but the title is a strange choice. It's kind of misleading. Now, that being said, it was the title that drew me to this, so it's not necessarily the case that they made a bad decision in terms of attracting an audience, but it's not really the Alina Thompson story. She's barely in it. It barely focuses on her. I don't think the title accurately reflects what the film is about, and that means that some people could find this to be quite disappointing. Thankfully, I enjoyed the other aspects of the film, but it doesn't deliver the kind of story you expect it would. Now, I'll expand on that, but I won't give any spoilers because this is based on the true story, and I'll talk more about that in a moment. This was released in 2025. It's directed by Michelle Ouellet, written by Christine Conrad, with a cast including Steve Byers, Sam Trammell, Brielle Robillard, Ashley Jones, and various others. And it's based on the true story of 15-year-old Alina Thompson, who in the 1980s encountered somebody who she later learned was a serial killer. And this is the story of how she survived, except that's not really the case at all. I might give a spoiler warning at the very end and explain that in more detail, but for now I won't give any spoilers. But I will just say, if you're looking for a story about somebody who's in a lot of danger and are close to being murdered, and then they somehow survive, as the title would suggest, that's not this story. But it's still a really, really interesting film. It focuses on, as I said, the true story of a serial killer called William Bradford, and he posed as a photographer. Well, he was a photographer, and he would take pictures of young women, saying that they could help give them this great modelling career, and of course, as soon as he had the opportunity, he would attack them and kill them. And as a narrative, it's interesting. If we take away the title, if we ignore the title, I think the story is really compelling. It's really fascinating. The pacing is really great. It focuses on various different girls and their encounters. I don't know if any of those are their true names. I couldn't find a tremendous amount about this. There are a few articles out there, but I don't know if any of the girls that Bradford attacks in this are also based on specific people, or if any key changes have been made there. If anybody knows and can expand on that, please feel free to share. But as a story, it works well. We are told at the beginning that some names, dialogue, timelines, organisations and characters have been changed, so I was not expecting it to be 100% factual, but what we get at least is interesting, fascinating, and with a really important message. Yes, important for the 80s, certainly very important for today. Don't go off with somebody who claims they're going to help you get this modelling career, because it's a little bit suspicious. Yes, there are obviously legitimate people who can help with that, but never go off on your own with a stranger. It doesn't need to be said, but there are many scenarios where you might feel safe, and honestly, he felt believable. Bradford felt convincing. So while I would like to sit here and say I would never ever believe anybody like that, I'm far too suspicious of people, genuinely very convincing. And the performance there, he's played by Steve Byers, the performance there is absolutely fantastic. I don't know how true the character is to the real individual, but basically as soon as we meet him, I found him to be really unsettling, unnerving. His next move was never very clear. It was not necessarily that easy to work out what he was thinking or feeling. Very, very powerful performance. Definitely added to quite an eerie atmosphere. And a lot does happen. There are quite a few things do happen. We have some different locations. The narrative moves forward pretty steadily. So judging it purely on its own, I'd say it's quite a powerful film. Visually, it's great with wonderful lighting and good camera work and great locations. So as a story on its own, as a film, it's great. Really engaging, really powerful, very, very well done. Based on truth, we are told a lot has been changed, so I took everything with a pinch of salt. But in terms of telling Alina Thompson's story, there's not much there to it. Now, I will say I did do a tiny bit of research, and the real Alina Thompson apparently is very happy with the film, which is really important, of course. If you're telling somebody's story, you want them to like the way in which the story has been told, so that's good. I never got the sense that anything was left out. And that makes the title choice really strange. And I'll expand on that with a spoiler warning in a moment. In general, check it out. It's probably not going to be the film you expect based on the title, but on its own, it is a decent film. So I will now give a huge spoiler warning to explain what I mean about the title not being that great, because I think it's only fair that I go into a bit of detail if I am going to criticise the title choice. But I will say, first of all, I think Alina Thompson's story is still worth telling. Because if anybody was in that situation, that's going to stay with you for a long time. In the film, and as I said, Alina Thompson does seem to be happy with the way that this has been portrayed, so it seems accurate. In the film, she very briefly meets Bradford and very quickly walks away from him. I won't say exactly how it happens, I won't give away everything, but their encounter is very brief. In that scene, there was never any real sense of danger. Maybe had she met up with him again, which could have happened if things had turned out differently, then yes, it's very possible that she would have been another victim. So again, that's not insignificant. I think if any of us found out that we were potentially that close to being killed by a serial killer, that's going to stay with you. And I think it's an important story. But the fact that she survived a conversation with him. There wasn't any drama. She wasn't ever in that moment in danger. And again, this is purely based on the film. I don't know what the true story is like. And again, it's not an insignificant thing. Nobody ever wants to find out that they were potentially days or even hours away from being killed. So it's not insignificant. But to title the whole film, The Girl Who Survived, she survived a conversation. So it's not a good title. It's not that the story isn't worth telling. But they absolutely should have taken a different approach with the title, as it's very, very misleading. But that being said, I still enjoyed it. So it's a decent film. Don't expect one thing. It will deliver something different. But I certainly find it worth recommending.